Let me ask you something right off the bat. How many times have you found yourself sitting there, replaying conversations in your head, wondering why she didn't choose you, why she walked away or picked someone else over you? How often have you felt like no matter what you do, buying gifts, saying all the right words, bending over backward, it's never enough? If this sounds familiar, then buckle up, because what I'm about to share with you will completely change how you approach relationships forever. Here's the brutal truth that nobody wants to tell you. Women don't fall for desperate men. They don't chase after approval seekers. And they sure as hell don't settle for beggars. What they do surrender to is strength, a specific kind of strength that most men misunderstand entirely. This isn't another cheap dating hack or some tired pickup artist nonsense. No, what we're diving into today is raw, unfiltered reality, the kind of stuff that makes a woman's heart race, her respect deepen, and her loyalty lock in permanently. But here's the kicker. If you ignore what I'm about to reveal, you'll stay stuck in the same cycle of rejection, frustration, and wasted time. On the other hand, if you really listen, your entire life could shift. I'm not exaggerating when I say this. By the time you finish watching, you'll either walk away equipped with the tools to become the man women truly desire, or you'll scroll past this video and remain exactly where you are. The choice is yours. But before you decide, let me warn you, this isn't just advice, it's a wake-up call. So don't look away, not yet. The brutal truth about attraction. Attraction isn't something you negotiate. You can't buy it with expensive dinners, earn it with grand gestures, or force it by proving your loyalty through endless sacrifices. Attraction is biological. It's psychological. It's hardwired into us as human beings, and it only fires in one direction, towards strength. Now, when I say strength, I'm not talking about physical power or some cartoonish alpha male dominance. That's not what real attraction is built on. Instead, think deeper. Think about the strength of a man who respects himself, a man who has boundaries, who doesn't tolerate disrespect because he knows his own worth. Think about the man who doesn't beg for love, but instead becomes someone worthy of it. Women don't fall for men who need them. They fall for men who inspire them. And nothing inspires a woman faster than a man who clearly, unshakably respects himself. Here's the thing, attraction isn't about changing who you are to fit someone else's expectations. It's about standing firm in your values, remaining solid even when tested, and refusing to crumble under pressure. Because guess what? The man who stands his ground, the one who doesn't panic or fold, is the one who earns real respect. And respect, that's the foundation of everything. Why self-respect is magnetic. Self-respect isn't just some abstract concept. It's the magnetic force that draws the right people into your life. When you respect yourself, you filter out those who don't belong. You stop chasing those who aren't worth it. And most importantly, you become the kind of man who attracts the right women, the ones who see your value and want to be part of your world. So here's the million-dollar question. Do you respect the man you've become? If the answer is no, then it's time to rebuild. Women don't choose men who don't choose themselves first. If you don't value your time, she won't either. If you don't enforce your boundaries, she'll push them. And if you don't stand for something, she'll see right through you. This is why self-respect isn't optional, it's essential. It's the bedrock of genuine attraction. Every skill you master, every goal you achieve, every book you read, they're all votes of confidence in yourself. And that confidence radiates outward in ways no pickup line ever could. Becoming the prize, not the pursuer. There's a fundamental error that plagues most men in the modern dating landscape, the desperate scramble for romantic attention. Many men treat women like some scarce resource they have to beg for, rearranging their schedules, molding themselves to fit preferences, and broadcasting their lack of intrinsic worth with every needy interaction. But here's the psychological truth. Value flows toward those who embody it, not those who plead for it. When you chase, you communicate one devastating message, that she's the prize and you're just another contestant. And that framework alone destroys any possibility of genuine attraction. But when you build yourself into someone of substance, someone with skills, ambition, and purpose, the entire dynamic shifts. Suddenly, you're not auditioning for her attention. You're evaluating whether she meets your standards. This isn't about manipulation or game playing. It's about understanding a fundamental law of human nature. People want what they perceive as valuable. And nothing appears less valuable than someone who doesn't value themselves. Emotional strength, the missing piece. One of the most misunderstood aspects of male attractiveness, especially in modern dating culture, is the false dichotomy between confidence and emotional vulnerability. For years, men have been fed a narrow definition of masculinity that equates strength with emotional suppression. The message has often been clear: don't show weakness, don't appear too sensitive, and above all, don't let your emotions get the best of you. But then came the pendulum swing in the opposite direction. Suddenly, the new ideal was raw, unfiltered openness. Men were encouraged to share every insecurity, every fear, and every heartbreak as proof of their emotional maturity. While this shift did bring some much-needed awareness around emotional health, it also created confusion. Many men found themselves caught between two extremes, being an unfeeling fortress of stoicism or becoming a constant stream of self-disclosure that left them emotionally drained and exposed. The problem with both approaches is that they miss the real point entirely. What women are truly drawn to is not just confidence or vulnerability alone, but emotional strength. Emotional strength is the ability to be grounded in your feelings without being ruled by them. It's knowing how to express yourself honestly while maintaining composure, clarity, and control. It's not about pretending everything is fine when it isn't, nor is it about sharing every fleeting emotion with everyone around you. Emotional strength means owning your feelings, understanding them, and choosing how and when to express them with wisdom and intention. This kind of strength is deeply attractive because it signals maturity, self-awareness, and the capacity for meaningful connection. A man who can sit with discomfort, whether it's rejection, disappointment, or even intimacy, without collapsing into defensiveness or overreaction, is someone others naturally respect and trust. He doesn't need to prove his worth through bravado, nor does he fall apart under pressure. Instead, he meets life with resilience, authenticity, and grace. Women, consciously or unconsciously, respond to this because it creates a sense of safety and stability. It allows for deeper emotional intimacy without imbalance. When a man can hold space for both his own emotions and those of his partner, relationships become healthier, more balanced, and far more fulfilling. So where do many men go wrong? They either shut down completely, fearing that showing emotion makes them weak, or they overshare inappropriately, mistaking emotional flooding for vulnerability. Neither approach builds real connection. True emotional strength lies somewhere in the middle. It's the ability to be emotionally available without losing yourself in the process. It's okay to feel hurt, but it's stronger to not let that hurt turn into bitterness or blame. It's okay to feel fear, but it's stronger to act anyway. It's okay to cry, but it's stronger to know when and where to do so wisely. It's okay to be vulnerable, but it's stronger to choose who sees that side of you. Emotional strength is not about repressing your humanity, it's about mastering it. It's about leading with integrity, responding rather than reacting, and showing up fully both for yourself and for the people who matter. So if you want to build real attraction, not just surface-level chemistry, you need to stop chasing shallow definitions of masculinity or performative vulnerability. Start building emotional strength. Learn how to identify your emotions without being overwhelmed by them. Practice self-regulation so you can remain calm and centered even in difficult situations. Cultivate self-awareness so you understand your triggers and patterns, and develop communication skills that allow you to express yourself clearly and respectfully. Because at the end of the day, what draws people in, especially partners who are looking for something real, is not just how confident you are or how much you're willing to share. It's how whole you are as a person, how grounded, mature, and emotionally intelligent you are in your interactions. That's emotional strength. That's the missing piece. And once you develop it, everything else falls into place. Emotional strength isn't about suppressing your humanity, it's about mastering it. It's not about pretending you don't feel pain, fear, or doubt. Quite the opposite. Real emotional strength means being fully in touch with your emotions, yet not allowing them to hijack your behavior or cloud your judgment. It's the ability to experience discomfort, whether it's uncertainty, frustration, disappointment, or even heartbreak, and still choose how you respond. Psychologists refer to this as emotional regulation, the skill of recognizing what you're feeling, understanding why you're feeling it, and deciding how to act in alignment with your values rather than your impulses. This is where true power lies, not in denying emotion, but in navigating it wisely. Emotional regulation allows you to sit with discomfort without needing to escape it through aggression, withdrawal, distraction, or self-sabotage. And here's why this matters not just for personal growth, but especially when it comes to attraction. Women have evolved over generations to detect this quality at a visceral level. On a subconscious level, they're wired to look for signs of stability, maturity, and reliability in potential partners. These traits are not flashy or superficial, they're deeply rooted in emotional intelligence and inner strength. When a man can remain centered during conflict, when he doesn't lash out, shut down, or deflect blame, he signals something incredibly powerful, that he can be relied upon when life gets hard. He demonstrates that he won't crumble under pressure, panic in crisis, or become emotionally unavailable when things get real. That kind of presence is magnetic because it creates safety both emotionally and psychologically. Think about it. Who would you rather lean on in a moment of struggle? Someone who becomes overwhelmed by their own emotions and needs reassurance, validation, or escape? Or someone who stays grounded, listens, supports, and remains emotionally available without losing themselves? This is the essence of emotional strength. It builds trust, deepens connection, and fosters long-term intimacy. It's not about being perfect or always having the answers. It's about showing up with integrity, humility, and resilience, even when you're unsure, hurt, or challenged. Developing this kind of strength takes practice. It requires self-awareness, the ability to notice your emotions before they take control. It demands courage to face difficult feelings instead of numbing or avoiding them. And it calls for discipline to choose response over reaction, even when it's hard. So how do you build emotional strength? Start by naming your emotions. Instead of saying, "I'm fine," when you clearly aren't, pause and ask yourself what you're really feeling. Frustrated? Anxious? Disappointed? Sad? Labeling your emotions accurately is the first step toward managing them effectively. Then practice sitting with discomfort. When you feel an urge to react impulsively, whether it's snapping at someone, shutting down, or reaching for distractions, take a breath. Give yourself space to feel the emotion without acting on it immediately. Over time, this builds resilience and control. Learn to communicate from a place of clarity, not chaos. If you need time to process, say so. "I need a moment to think" is far more mature than blurting out something you'll later regret. True strength includes knowing when to speak and when to pause. Above all, understand that emotional strength is not a static trait, it's a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it becomes. And the more you develop it, the more naturally attractive you become, not just to potential partners, but to everyone around you. Because people are drawn to those who bring calm, confidence, and consistency into their lives. They gravitate toward those who can hold space for both joy and pain, who can lead with empathy and stand firm in adversity. So stop trying to be emotionless. Stop believing that strength means never showing weakness. True strength is the ability to be human and to handle that humanity with grace, wisdom, and control. That's emotional strength. That's what makes a man truly attractive. And that's what builds relationships that last. For most of human history, a woman's survival, and by extension, the survival of her children, depended heavily on choosing a partner who could remain steady in the face of adversity. In ancient times, life was unpredictable, often dangerous. A mate had to be someone who could hunt, protect, provide, and above all, stay composed when the pressure mounted. Choosing a man who would panic under stress or fall apart emotionally wasn't just inconvenient, it could be life-threatening. That kind of selection pressure has left a deep imprint on the female psyche. Even though we now live in modern societies with stable food sources, medical care, and legal protections, those primal instincts haven't vanished. They've simply evolved in form. Today, a woman isn't consciously thinking, "Will he protect me from wild animals?" But she may still ask, "Can I count on him when things get hard? Will he stay calm if our child gets sick? Will he support me during a crisis? Can he handle conflict without shutting down or lashing out?" This is why emotional instability, even in seemingly minor forms, can trigger an unconscious red flag. When a man loses his composure at the first sign of emotional turbulence, whether it's a moment of neediness, jealousy, frustration, or vulnerability, he unknowingly activates ancient alarm bells rooted in survival instinct. His reaction signals unpredictability, unreliability, or worse, that he might not be able to manage stress effectively. Conversely, the man who can navigate emotional complexity with steadiness becomes irreplaceable. He doesn't overreact when tensions rise. He doesn't become defensive when confronted. He listens, reflects, and responds thoughtfully rather than impulsively. This kind of presence doesn't just earn respect, it creates deep emotional safety. It tells a woman, both rationally and subconsciously, that she can trust you, that you won't abandon her emotionally, that you can handle whatever life throws your way together. And this goes far beyond romantic relationships. Emotional steadiness makes you more trustworthy in friendships, more respected in leadership roles, and more dependable in every area of life. People want to be around someone who brings stability, not chaos. They want to know that when the going gets tough, you won't fold, you'll show up. The key here is not perfection. No one stays perfectly calm all the time. The difference lies in how you recover. Emotional strength isn't about never feeling overwhelmed, it's about regaining control quickly. It's about being able to pause before reacting, to process instead of project, to own your emotions without letting them own you. So how do you cultivate this kind of resilience? Start by building self-awareness. Learn to recognize the early signs of emotional overwhelm: tightened chest, racing thoughts, irritability. These are your internal warning lights. Once you notice them, you have a choice: react unconsciously or respond with intention. Practice grounding techniques, breathing deeply, stepping away from a heated situation for a moment, or even repeating a mental mantra like "stay calm, think clearly." These small tools help you maintain control when emotions run high. Also, reflect after difficult moments. Ask yourself, how did I handle that? Could I have responded differently? What triggered me, and how can I prepare next time? Growth comes from reflection, not reaction. Ultimately, emotional steadiness is not about suppressing feelings. It's about mastering your response to them. It's what separates boys from men, performers from leaders, and fleeting connections from lifelong partnerships. Because when a woman sees a man who can hold space for both strength and sensitivity, who can listen without defensiveness, love without desperation, and lead without ego, she sees something rare. She sees a man who is safe. A man who is whole. A man who is truly attractive, not just on the surface, but at the core. And that kind of man doesn't just attract women. He earns their loyalty, their admiration, and their deepest trust. This brings us to the final mindset shift, the one that ties everything together and serves as the foundation for all the others. Becoming the man women truly desire isn't about fitting into a mold or following some arbitrary checklist of traits or behaviors. It's not about mimicking what you see online in movies or even what your friends might be doing. At its core, it's about something much deeper: personal growth. It's about evolving into the kind of man who is whole, grounded, and emotionally mature, someone who doesn't chase validation, but naturally attracts it through the strength of his character. Every time you choose to face your emotions rather than run from them, you're building emotional resilience. Every time you pause and consciously decide to respond rather than react in the heat of the moment, you're developing self-mastery. And every time you maintain your center in difficult or triggering situations, whether it's dealing with a stressful work environment, navigating family dynamics, or managing interpersonal conflict, you're upgrading your entire existence. These aren't just isolated acts. They're part of a larger transformation that ripples out into every area of your life. This journey isn't just about improving your dating life or increasing your romantic options. While those may be natural side effects, the real goal here is to become a better version of yourself, not just for others, but for you. The benefits extend far beyond relationships. They show up in how you carry yourself, how you handle setbacks, how you lead at work, how you communicate with loved ones, and how you make decisions under pressure. In short, this is about becoming a more capable, confident, and conscious human being. So here's my challenge to you. Commit to doing the inner and outer work. Start small, because consistency beats intensity when it comes to long-term change. You don't need to overhaul your entire life overnight. What you need is a starting point, a daily practice, a habit, or even just a question you ask yourself regularly to stay on track. Reflect on your actions. Think about how you showed up in your last conversation, how you handled disappointment, or how you responded to criticism. Were you reactive, defensive, or were you able to listen, process, and respond with intention? Begin building self-awareness. This is arguably the most underrated yet powerful skill you can develop. Awareness allows you to catch old patterns before they repeat. It gives you the space between stimulus and response that makes all the difference. Without awareness, you're simply reacting to life based on past conditioning. With it, you have the freedom to choose how you want to show up, regardless of the situation. Take full responsibility for your emotional state. This is a big one. So many men grow up believing that their happiness depends on external factors, on what other people do or don't do, on whether things go according to plan, or on how others treat them. But true emotional maturity begins when you realize that no one controls your peace but you. Your emotional state is yours to manage, and once you take ownership of that, you gain access to a level of power and clarity that most people never experience. And remember, this isn't about shortcuts or quick fixes. There's no app for emotional intelligence, no pill for presence, and no cheat code for self-mastery. True transformation takes time, effort, and courage. It's uncomfortable. It's messy. It requires you to confront parts of yourself that you may have ignored or suppressed for years. But if you're willing to put in the work, the rewards will far outweigh the effort. You'll begin to notice subtle changes, first how you sleep, how you speak, how you feel in your own skin. Then the external results start to follow. You'll attract healthier relationships, build deeper connections, and command respect without needing to demand it. You'll stop chasing validation and start generating it naturally through your presence, your choices, and your values. More importantly, you'll become the kind of man who doesn't rely on outside approval to feel good about himself. You'll be rooted in something deeper, something unshakable. And that, more than anything, is what women are drawn to. Not confidence that masks insecurity, but quiet strength that needs no proof. So take the next step. Don't wait for motivation. Don't wait until you feel ready. Begin where you are. Use what you have. Do what you can. Because the man you're meant to become isn't waiting, he's already on his way. Before you close this video, pause for just a moment and ask yourself a powerful question. Are you truly ready to step up and become the man you were meant to be? Not the version of yourself that settles for less, not the person who makes excuses or waits for the perfect time, but the man who takes action, owns his life, and leads with purpose. If your answer is yes, and I hope it is, then don't let this moment pass you by. Don't fall into the trap of thinking, I'll start tomorrow, or I'll do it when I feel more motivated. Real growth doesn't wait for motivation to strike. It shows up through discipline, through small choices, through daily commitment. So take action now. Hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any future content designed to help you grow, evolve, and become the best version of yourself. This journey isn't something you complete in one sitting, it's a lifelong process, and having consistent support and guidance along the way can make all the difference. By staying connected, you're giving yourself the gift of momentum. Now here's something even more important. Leave a comment below sharing one thing you learned from this video. It could be a mindset shift, a habit you want to build, or even a realization that hit differently today. Doing this will hold you accountable not just to me, but to yourself and to everyone else on this journey. Growth thrives in community, and your words might just inspire someone else to take their next step. And most importantly, start implementing these principles today. Don't wait for some distant future where everything magically lines up in your favor. Start right where you are. Use what you've got. Take the first step, even if it's small. Because the man you become tomorrow starts with the choices you make right now. Think about it. How many videos have you watched, articles have you read, or podcasts have you listened to only to forget them 5 minutes later? How many times have you felt inspired in the moment only to go back to the same patterns, the same habits, the same results? This is your chance to break that cycle. Make this video the turning point of your life. Let it be the moment you decided enough was enough, that you would no longer settle for mediocrity, no longer accept excuses as reasons, and no longer allow fear or comfort to dictate your path. Because the truth is, becoming the man you're capable of being isn't easy. It requires self-reflection. It demands courage. It asks you to show up consistently, even when it's hard. But the reward? It's worth every bit of effort. You'll gain clarity about who you are and what you stand for. You'll build unshakable confidence, not the kind that comes from impressing others, but the kind that comes from knowing yourself deeply and living in alignment with your values. You'll attract relationships that are meaningful, fulfilling, and rooted in mutual respect. And most importantly, you live a life of purpose, one where you wake up each day, not just going through the motions, but showing up fully, powerfully, and intentionally. So don't let this be just another video you scroll past. Make it matter, make you matter, because the world needs more men like you, grounded, aware, emotionally intelligent, and committed to growth. Your future self is watching. He's waiting for you to make the choice that changes everything. Take it.